Imagine a civilization spanning like 1.5 million square kilometers.
Which is just massive.
Right, it's huge. And they had standardized plumbing, a complex global trade network, and get this, identical brick sizes used across cities separated by vast deserts.
Yeah, the exact same bricks.
But when we actually dig them up, there's something glaringly absent.
Completely missing from the record.
There are no grand palaces, there are no royal tombs, and there are no statues of a supreme king anywhere.
Which breaks all the rules of ancient history.
It really does. Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today's mission is to untangle one of the absolute greatest historical puzzles of the ancient world, the roots of Indian civilization.
And we have a lot to cover.
We do. To do it, we are looking at this towering stack of sources. We've got modern archaeological reports, these groundbreaking ancient DNA studies from 2019, and even marine exploration logs.
Yeah, and before we get into the details of those sources, we really need to establish a core distinction. It's going to act as our compass today.
Right, because the terminology gets confusing.
Exactly. So if you take away one thing to help you navigate this topic, it is the difference between two major labels.
Okay, lay it out for us.
So the Indus Valley Civilization, which is also called the Harappan Civilization, is strictly an archaeological label.
Meaning the physical stuff.
Right. It refers to the physical cities, the bricks, the actual artifacts dating roughly from, say, 3300 to 1300 BCE.
Got it. And the other label.
On the other hand, the Vedic civilization is a textual and linguistic label. It refers to the culture, the worldview, and, the people behind the Vedas.
Which come later, right?
Yeah. Conventionally, those are placed later in the timeline, around 1500 to 500 BCE.
So we essentially have one society that we can dig out of the dirt, but we can't hear.
Exactly.
And then another society that we can hear loudly through their ancient texts, but is like much harder to physically dig up.
You hit the nail on the head.
So the ultimate mission of this deep dive is to figure out how these two interact. Like, are they the exact same people?
Or are they overlapping layers of history?
Right. Or were they distinct populations that eventually merged together? For you listening, we are stepping way beyond those static textbook summaries you might remember.
Oh, definitely.
We are entering a live, highly contested frontier. I mean, we're talking million-dollar bounties, submerged port cities, and cutting-edge ancient DNA analysis.
It's basically a detective story. But to really grasp the origins of this culture, we have to start with its sheer physical footprint.
Because it's huge.
It completely rewrites the rules of the ancient world. We are talking about the largest Bronze Age civilization on Earth.
Just to give a sense of scale, it stretched from modern-day Afghanistan all the way down into Maharashtra, India.
Right. And the scale alone is staggering, but it's the infrastructure that really stands out in these archaeological reports.
It's mind-blowing. You have a site like Dholavira in Gujarat, where they built this incredibly sophisticated water harvesting system.
With those massive stone reservoirs.
Yeah, just to survive that super arid environment. And then over in Rajasthan, you have Kalibangan, which boasts the world's earliest known plowed agricultural field.
And we can't forget Rakhigarhi in Haryana.
Right, which is currently recognized as the largest Harappan site overall.
And what is so fascinating about these sources is that this map is literally still expanding today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just in 2025, archaeologists confirmed a new site called Rakhigarhi.
Right in the middle of the desert.
Literally right in the middle of the harsh Thar Desert.
Which is such a crucial find. It acts as, well, basically a missing waypoint.
How so?
It connects the trade routes from Gujarat up into northern Rajasthan, tracking along the corridor of what used to be the Saraswati or Ghaggar-Hakra river system.
Oh, wow. So they weren't just surviving.
No, they weren't just surviving in hostile environments. They were mastering them to keep their supply chains open.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is where the societal structure gets deeply weird.
It really does.
Across that entire 1.5 million square kilometer footprint, they used standardized baked bricks.
Very specific bricks.
Right. And the ratio of those bricks is exactly 1.2.4 everywhere you look.
Every single city.
And it doesn't stop there. The weights and measures they use in their markets, mathematically identical.
Yep.
The drainage systems on their streets have the exact same engineering slopes.
It's precision engineering.
But, as we mentioned earlier, there is no obvious central authority, like no king. So how on earth do you enforce that level of microscopic standardization without a supreme king or an emperor?
It's tough to imagine.
Think about it. Trying to get a modern continent to agree on a single standard smartphone charger is nearly impossible without a government mandating it.
That is a great point.
So how did they do this in the Bronze Age?
It is the ultimate archaeological paradox, really, because when you look at ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia, power is loud.
Very loud. Big statues.
Exactly. It is monumental. Kings build pyramids to essentially crush you with their importance, but here power is entirely quiet.
So who was in charge?
Well, the leading theories suggest this was a society ruled by merchant oligarchies or like complex local councils.
Okay, but what about the bricks? How do councils enforce a brick ratio across 1,000,000 miles?
As for the mechanism of that standardization, it wasn't enforced top-down by an army. It was likely enforced bottom-up by economic necessity.
Meaning what, exactly?
Well, if a trader from Gujarat wants to sell goods in a market in Punjab, their carts need to fit the established ruts in the regional roads.
Oh, I see.
Right, and that dictates street width, which dictates housing grids, which ultimately requires everyone to use the same standardized brick molds.
Wow. So it's a network effect based on mutual economic benefit.
Precisely.
Which is a remarkably pragmatic way to run a society.
It really is.
But, the mystery of how they govern themselves brings us directly to the most frustrating barrier in all of archaeology.
The script.
Yes, they left us writing. We literally have their script. But we cannot read a single syllable of it.
It is the deepest, most stubborn black hole in our understanding of the ancient world.
It's maddening. We have roughly 4,000 inscribed objects from them.
Mostly steatite seals.
Right. And steatite is essentially soapstone.
Yeah.
It's very easy to carve intricate little animal motifs and symbols into, and then you bake it to harden it.
But the inscriptions on these seals are incredibly brief.
So brief.
Yeah.
The average is just 5 or 6 symbols long.
Yeah, and the absolute longest continuous text ever found is only 34 symbols.
And unlike Egyptian hieroglyphs, we don't have a Rosetta Stone to save us here.
Nothing even close.
There is no bilingual text sitting in a museum somewhere that tells us what a symbol means in a language we already know.
It makes translation nearly impossible.
The frustration is so intense that in 2025, the Tamil Nadu government actually offered a $1 million reward to anyone who can definitively crack this script, to the satisfaction of the global scholarly community.
A literal $1 million sitting unclaimed.
Have there been any close calls?
Well, there have been very sophisticated attempts. Recently, researchers have applied AI and machine learning, specifically transformer models.
Like the ones used for ChatGPT.
Exactly. These are the same types of AI architectures that power large language models today. They work by analyzing how elements in a sequence relate to each other.
Okay.
So by feeding the AI the entire corpus of the Indus script, the model looked for structural syntax. It analyzed which symbols naturally follow other symbols.
And what did it find?
The AI found patterns leaning toward a language with characteristics consistent with Dravidian phonology.
Okay, let's clarify that real quick for everyone listening. When we say Dravidian phonology, we mean the way the syllables and sounds are structured resembles modern South Indian languages like Tamil or Telugu,
Right.
rather than the consonant-heavy clusters of Indo-Aryan languages like Sanskrit.
Spot on. That's a great distinction. But what's fascinating here is that it is vital to remember that pattern matching on structural syntax is not translation.
Right, it doesn't give us the meaning.
Yeah, exactly. The AI can tell us the rules of the puzzle, but it still can't read the words.
Which makes me want to ask a really provocative question about the whole premise here.
Go for it.
What if we are looking at this script all wrong?
How do you mean?
What if it isn't a spoken phonetic language at all?
Oh, interesting.
Think about modern smartphone emojis or like the corporate logos stamped on shipping crates.
Oh, I fell.
If I see a picture of an apple with a bite taken out of it on a laptop box, I know exactly what's inside.
Yeah.
I know the company that made it, and I know its rough value.
Sure.
But Apple logo isn't a phonetic sentence you speak out loud. What if these steatite seals are just administrative trademarkers indicating merchant guilds?
That is a very valid pushback, and honestly, it's a theory championed by several prominent linguists right now.
Really?
Yeah. A symbol can absolutely function as a concept rather than a sound. However, it's also true that many ancient scripts started as logos and evolved to represent phonetic syllables.
Like early hieroglyphs.
Exactly. And without that bilingual key, we simply don't know where the Indus script falls on that spectrum.
So we're just stuck.
Pretty much. And until that $1 million prize is claimed, the people of the Indus remain entirely voiceless.
That's a bit haunting.
It is. Because their words are locked away, we can't just ask them who they were, so we have to look for their fingerprints elsewhere, literally inside their bones.
Ah, DNA.
Yes. This is where ancient DNA steps in to do the talking.
Exactly. Since the script is silent, Modern science has turned to genetics to map the movements of these ancient people.
It's been a game changer.
The defining moment in this research was a landmark 2019 study focusing on a single skeleton excavated from the city of Rakhigarhi, dating back to roughly 2500 BCE.
And getting this data was an agonizing process.
I can imagine.
Ancient DNA breaks down rapidly in hot, humid climates like South Asia's. To get just one readable sequence, geneticists had to make over 100 attempts on 61 different skeletons.
Over 100 attempts.
Yeah. They specifically targeted the petrous bone, which is this incredibly dense, pyramid-shaped bone in the inner ear.
Why that bone specifically?
Because it's so dense, it acts like a biological time capsule, protecting the DNA from degrading when everything else rots away.
Man, imagine the tension in that lab.
Oh, for sure.
After 60 failed skeletons, they finally crack open the petrous bone of a 2500 BCE individual and get a readable sequence.
And what they found immediately rewrote the textbooks.
It really did.
Yeah.
This individual had deep, ancient ancestral South Indian DNA blended with ancestry related to early Iranian hunter-gatherers and farmers.
But here is the critical takeaway.
Yeah.
There was zero-step pastoralist DNA. Zero.
And we should definitely define who the steppe pastoralists were.
All right, good call.
These were semi-nomadic cattle and horse herders hailing from the vast Eurasian steppes, so basically the grassy plains stretching from modern-day Ukraine to Kazakhstan.
Exactly. And their specific genetic signature is strongly associated by linguists and geneticists with the spread of Indo-European languages.
Which includes early Sanskrit, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. And while there was zero-step DNA in 2500 BCE at the height of the Indus Valley Civilization, broader genetic surveys show that this step genetic signature absolutely does enter the South Asian gene pool.
It just happens later.
Exactly. It becomes prominent after 1500 BCE.
Right.
Now, it's worth noting for anyone following this topic that these specific DNA timelines sit right at the center of a massive modern political debate.
They really do. It's a very hot topic.
And I want to be super clear with you listening. We are not taking sides here, nor are we endorsing any specific political worldview. We are simply reporting what's in the source material.
Which is important to state.
Totally.
So, on one hand, you have right-wing and nationalist commentators who often advocate for an out-of-India model. They argue for a continuous indigenous Vedic origin that was present from the very beginning.
Right.
On the other hand, mainstream global academics point to these DNA findings to support a migration model. And crucially, this is not the old, completely debunked 19th century colonial theory of a violent Aryan invasion.
No, not at all. The modern scientific consensus models a gradual migration where steppe-descended groups moved in and blended with the local populations over centuries.
It was a mixing, not a conquering.
Right. And we are strictly sticking to the scientific data in the sources today, but it is just fascinating how ancient bones carry so much modern political weight.
It really is. And synthesizing that scientific data, the mainstream view sees a gradual two-way cultural diffusion.
So they're interacting both ways.
Exactly. We know the Harappans weren't isolated. Their unique genetic footprint has actually been found in ancient burial sites in Iran and Turkmenistan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, proving they were traveling and trading outward. But the mechanics of how the incoming steppe-related groups mixed with the declining urban Harappans is incredibly complex.
It's never a simple story.
No, it's not. And just when archaeologists thought they had the timeline neatly sorted out, a site in the state of Uttar Pradesh completely scrambled the picture.
Enter the site of Sanauli.
Oh, this one is wild.
Excavated in 2018. The date range here is roughly 2000 to 1800 BCE, right as the great Indus cities to the west are beginning to decline.
And the artifacts pulled from this dirt are just astonishing.
They really are. They found these wooden coffins elevated on legs, decorated with intricate copper plating and horned figures.
They found specialized copper antenna swords.
They even excavated female warriors buried alongside their weaponry.
Which is incredible. But the discovery that really set the archaeological world on fire was 3 solid-wheeled wooden chariots or carts buried with the elite.
Yeah, that was a massive story.
Some officials immediately pointed to these vehicles and claimed this proved the Vedic age existed as far back as 1900 BCE.
Why?
Because the horse-drawn chariot is such a central, defining symbol in early Vedic literature, like the Rig Veda.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and where we have to look closely at the mechanics of what was actually found.
Let's hear it.
The sources are very specific. These vehicles have solid wooden wheels. They do not have spoked wheels.
Right, that's a big detail.
Furthermore, there were 0 horse bones found in these burial pits.
None.
So aren't these just really ornate ox carts? I mean, calling a solid-wheeled ox cart a war chariot feels a bit like painting a golf cart camouflage and calling it a military tank, doesn't it?
Well, it's not quite a golf cart, but you're absolutely right to question the war chariot label.
It just seems like a leap.
It is a leap. A true war chariot requires lightweight spoked wheels and horses for high-speed maneuverability in battle.
Right.
What we are likely looking at with these solid wheels in Sanauli are heavy, highly prestigious vehicles used for elite processions, and they were probably pulled by oxen.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, the broader scholarly consensus is very cautious about linking this directly to the Rig Veda. Instead, they identify this site as belonging to the ochre-colored pottery culture.
And whenever we throw around terms like ochre-colored pottery culture, it's just a reminder of our limitations. Because these ancient people didn't leave behind a welcome sign with their name on it, archaeologists have to name them after the distinct reddish-yellow wash they used to fire their clay pots.
Exactly. It's all we have to go on. And this specific pottery culture is fascinating because it acts as a crucial bridge.
A bridge between who?
Well, geographically and temporally, they are situated right between the declining, trade-focused Indus cities to the west and the emerging, ritually-focused Vedic world to the east.
Oh, I see.
It's a distinct warrior aristocracy forming right in the middle.
Which means this blending of cultures isn't just about copper swords and fancy ox carts. We are looking at the exact melting pot where the foundations of modern Hinduism were forged.
We really are.
We're essentially watching the birth of a living religion in the archaeological record.
Absolutely. If we look at the material evidence from the Harappan side, we find the famous Pashupati seal from Mohenjo-daro.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah, it depicts a horned figure seated in a remarkably complex yogic posture surrounded by wild animals. Many scholars debate it's a proto-Shiva figure.
That's fascinating.
You also have countless terracotta mother goddess figurines. You have the Great Bath, which indicates a societal obsession with ritual water purification.
And then you look for the Vedic elements, right?
Exactly. At the Harappan site of Kalibangan, archaeologists actually found a row of 7 fire altars, which strongly mirrors the fire sacrifice rituals described in the Vedas.
And the physical proof of this cultural handshake happens at a site called Bhagwanpura.
Yes, a very important site.
The sources highlight this location because archaeologists found late Harappan pottery buried in the exact same overlapping layer of dirt as painted grayware.
And why is that significant?
Well, painted grayware is a specific type of high-quality fine pottery that is strongly associated with early Vedic settlements.
Right.
At Bhagwanpura, these two distinct pottery styles are mixed together. There was no gap in occupation. There's no violent ash layer of destruction.
It's physical evidence of coexistence.
Yeah. Think of the evolution of Sanatan Dharma like an open-source operating system.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. When the migrations happened, the old system wasn't completely overwritten by a new software update.
It wasn't just deleted.
Exactly. Instead, the incoming Vedic code, the fire rituals, the Sanskrit hymns, was merged with the existing Harappan code, the yoga postures, the ritual bathing, the goddess worship.
They combined it all.
Yeah, they compiled it all together to create this highly robust, fused system.
It's a great way to look at it, but remember, merging code often results in entirely new features that neither system had originally.
True, very true.
Classical Hinduism is widely considered a braided stream of these traditions. It's a tree synthesis.
Yeah.
And it is crucial to note that this archaeological continuity and development extends far beyond the north of India.
Oh, you mean down south?
Yes. Down in Tamil Nadu, the recent Kiladi excavations have pushed the dates of southern urbanization back to 580 BCE.
Wow, that early.
Yeah, they uncovered a highly advanced, literate society using the Tamil Brahmi script right on the banks of the Vaigai River.
Which totally validates that the story of the subcontinent is one of vast pan-Indian development rather than just a single point of origin.
Exactly.
But we can track this cultural continuity not just in the dry dirt, but under the ocean.
Marine archaeology.
Yes. This brings us to a place where the late Harappan world intersects with the epic poetry of the Mahabharata.
It's one of my favorite topics.
Let's talk about Dr. S.R. Rao and the submerged city of Dwarka in Gujarat.
This is truly where geology and literature meet. Dr. Rao led offshore marine explorations under the Arabian Sea just off the coast of modern Dwarka.
And what they found was wild,
Right. The finds were incredible. Diverse located massive stone walls utilizing advanced L-shaped interlocking joints.
Bell-shaped joints.
Yeah, they were designed specifically to withstand heavy ocean waves. They also found massive triangular stone anchors, proving this was a bustling port.
Now, obviously, you can't carbon date stone walls.
Always can't.
So how did they date this underwater structure? Well, they look at the organic material tracked within the structural layers. Specifically, a late Harappan conch shell seal that had been intricately carved.
And carbon dating that shell, along with sediment analysis, puts this submerged port right around 1500 BCE.
Which is deeply significant, because according to ancient tradition, Dwarka was Lord Krishna's magnificent coastal capital, which was swallowed by the sea after his departure.
Right. Locating an actual sunken port right off the coast feels like finding a myth made real.
It does, but I have to ask the skeptical question here.
Go ahead.
Just because we found an old sunken port, how do we jump to the conclusion that it's Lord Krishna's mythical capital?
It's a fair question.
Isn't that like finding an 18th century shipwreck in the Atlantic and immediately announcing you've discovered the lost city of Atlantis? Like, how do we separate the romance of the epics from the hard rocks on the ocean floor?
It's absolutely the right question to ask. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the role of archaeology isn't to prove the supernatural or divine elements of an epic poem.
Right.
What it proves is that the memory preserved in those texts is anchored in material reality.
So the text remembered the landscape.
Exactly. The Puranas, which are these ancient Indian texts containing vast genealogies, histories, and myths, they insist that a great city was lost to the sea. Geologically, we now know that sea levels on the Gujarat coast did dramatically fluctuate. A prosperous late Harappan port was indeed swallowed by the waves around the mid-2nd millennium BCE.
Oh, man.
The epic poetry remembered that historical trauma and wove it into a sacred narrative over centuries.
That makes total sense.
And we see the exact same phenomenon inland.
With what?
Well, the Mahabharata speaks of the city of Hastinapur being destroyed by a flood. When archaeologist B.B. Lal excavated the physical site of Hastinapur, he found undeniable stratigraphic proof that a settlement from the painted grayware era actually did suffer a massive catastrophic flood, exactly as the text described.
So the myth is wrapped around a very real core of historical and geological truth.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this deep dive?
It's a lot to take in.
It is. If you take a step back from the dates, the DNA haplotypes, and the pottery shards, the ultimate takeaway is that history is not a static list of facts you memorize for a test.
No, it's alive.
It is a live, constantly evolving tapestry. Right now, DNA sequencers, AI decipherment models, and scuba divers plunging into the Arabian Sea are actively rewriting the story of human resilience and cultural synthesis.
We are watching a civilization that didn't just collapse into the dust.
Exactly.
It transformed, it migrated, and it braided itself into a culture that is still breathing today.
And that leaves us with one final provocative thought to consider.
Yeah, think about this. We talked extensively about that $1 million prize to decipher the Indus script.
The AI models might get there soon.
Imagine if they succeed and that prize is claimed tomorrow. What if we discover that this script wasn't just used for administrative trade receipts or merchant guild logos?
What else could it be?
What if we decode those tiny steatite seals and realize they were writing poetry? What if they were writing complex philosophy?
Oh, man. That would change everything.
It really would. How would that entirely change our view of a civilization that managed to build flawless, standardized cities across 1.5 million square kilometers without ever feeling the need to build a single monument to a king?
It forces us to ponder what a society truly values when its greatest architectural legacy is its plumbing, its water management, and its peace, rather than grand palaces dedicated to human ego.
Yeah.
It really makes you rethink what an advanced civilization actually looks like.
Does it?
You know, we started this deep dive talking about a civilization missing its kings. But maybe the muddy, complex waters of the Indus Valley and its merging with the Vedic world are exactly what it looks like when a culture refuses to break.
Instead, it bends.
Exactly. It bends, it adapts, and it flows into the future. Thanks for diving deep with us today.